Hello, fifth graders. So this is the very last lesson of topic 8, and it's called multiplication as scaling. So this topic is going to deal with a lot of mental math and basically tests your understanding of what a fraction is. So this problem, it says, without multiplying, order the following sets of multiplication problems from lowest to biggest, or least to greatest. Okay, so we are not going to actually solve these problems. So let's look first at these 3 that are in red. Okay, we have half times 2, 3/3 times 2, and 4/4 times 5/6. Well, one way we can decide what this could be is that we can look at what some of these fractions represent. For example, 3/3. What is 3/3 equal to? 3/3 is technically equal to 1. And 4/4 down here is also 4 out of 4 equal to 1. So we have 2 times 1. We have 2 times half. And we have 1 times 5/6. Okay? Well, this 2 times 1, okay, is definitely going to be the greatest. Okay, so what you are going to do on your virtual notes, you are going to take this box and move it down. That's going to be the greatest. So you're going to switch the order of these. So the greatest one's by greatest on the bottom, and the least one, the lowest one, is there. So this is going to be the greatest. Okay, so that's the greatest because 2 times 1 is 2. All right, and then this one, 1 times 5/6, well, that's just 5/6. So we know it's less than 2. Okay, so what we're going to do, now we have the greatest one, which is this one. We have this one's equal to 5/6. We need to figure out what this one's equal to. A little hint, anytime we multiply by half, it's the same thing as just dividing by 2. So we're multiplying half times 2. So that's basically the same thing as just saying half or 2 divided by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, so that means that this one is the greatest. Okay, this one is the least because that's 5/6, which is less than 1. And this one is in the middle. So what I want you to do is to reorder these so that this one is down below, this one's all the way up here, and then this one is right in the middle. So reorder them so that they are labeled least to greatest. Now, let's look at this next one, okay? This next one, again, the same type of concept, okay? We have 6/6 here, which again is equal to 1. Okay, and we have 4/4 again, which is equal to 1. So we have 3/4 times 1, which would be 3/4. We have 1 times 5/6, which is 5/6. And then we have 3/4. So we have 3/4 times 1 up here. And then we have 3/4 times 1 and 5/6. Okay, we are multiplying this fraction by a mixed number, meaning that this is going to be greater than 1. So this one is going to be the greatest, okay, because it has a mixed number in it, and none of the other ones have mixed numbers, okay? And a mixed number is always greater than just a regular fraction. Now, we have 5/6 and we have 3/4. That's tough. I don't know which one is greater, 3/4 or 5/6. So what you could do is to find a common denominator between them. Okay, if you're not sure. But, so you can either find a common denominator, so you can make 3/4 have a common denominator with 5/6, so you can compare them. But if you want to also think 6, if you have a whole that's broken into 6, 5 of them is going to be more than a whole broken into 4ths with 3 of them. Okay, so this is actually going to be the least, so you can keep that in its spot, and then you can just switch these two, because 5/6 is greater than 3/4. And then lastly, we have this problem where every single problem you see the same number. And this is kind of what you're going to be seeing in a little bit. They all have 2.5, which is a mixed number. You have 2.5 multiplied by 3 3/4, 2.5 multiplied by 3/4, and 2.5 multiplied by 4/4. Which one do you think would give you the greatest product? This one would give you the greatest product because you have a whole number and a whole number. You have two mixed numbers, meaning that you're going to get a greater answer than multiplying by any one of these. So this is the greatest, so you can shift that all the way down. Okay, now this is 3/4 times this, but this is 4/4. Well, without even thinking that 4/4 is 1, I know that 4/4 is greater than 3/4. Okay, so we're multiplying a bigger number times 2.5 for this one and a smaller number. So this 3/4 would be the least, and then the 4/4 would be in the middle. So just rearrange those so that the 3/4 is by the least, and the 3 3/4 is by the greatest. So rearrange those so you have those from least to greatest. So this next page is just some helpful tips. Okay, so multiplication and scaling, this is all about just using our knowledge of fractions to figure out what a product may be. So step 1 or tip 1 says when you are multiplying any number by a fraction, your product is going to be smaller than the original number you started with. So, for example, now how we compare these, we're going to use symbols that we've seen before. Greater than, less than, and equal to. Okay, so this first problem says 3.5 times 3/4 compared to 3.5. So they both have 3.5. And this statement just said, when you are multiplying a number by a fraction, which 3/4 is a fraction, your product is going to be smaller than what you started with, which is 3.5. So that means that if we're multiplying by a fraction, this is going to be less than what we started with. So 3.5 times 3/4 is going to be less than just 3.5. Now the next tip says, when you are multiplying a mixed number by a number greater than 1, your product is going to be greater than the original number you started with. So again, both of these problems have 3.5. You're comparing 3.5 times 2 1/4, which is a mixed number, compared to 3.5. Okay, and in this instance, okay, you're multiplying 3.5 by a number greater than 1. So it's going to be a greater product than just plain old 3.5. So it will be greater than that. Okay, so let's look at some examples so we can see these in context. So what I'm going to suggest to you is to look at the number that is the same in both. So for example, so kind of like how we looked at these ones, this last example over here, boys and girls, okay, how we had 2.5 in each one. Okay, it's going to be the same process where you find what's similar and then you see what's happening and you can make that decision based off of that. So both of these problems have 2 2/7. In the first one, we're multiplying 2 2/7 times 4 1/3. In the second one, you just have 2 2/7. What would be greater? Well, again, if you multiply by a mixed number greater than 1, you're going to have a greater product. So this product is greater than what you started with. This next one, we also have 2 2/5, okay? That is the same in both, but one of the 2 2/5 we're multiplying by a third. And if you look in right here, it says when you are multiplying a number by a fraction, the answer is going to be smaller than what you started with. So this is going to be less than 2 2/5, okay? So what I want you to do, I want you to look at the remainder of these problems and I want you to give these a go, okay? So again, circle if you want to make a circle on your Google slide, you can, but identify what's the same, okay? So for this example, they have 2 1/5 the same, and then see what's happening to one of them and decide if it's a mixed number, okay, then it's going to be greater. If it's a fraction, then you know when you're multiplying by a fraction, you're splitting it up into different sections. So it's always going to be smaller. So for this example, we're multiplying by 1/10, which is a fraction. So this product is going to be less than what we started with, which was 2 1/5. So I want you to complete the remainder of the problems on these notes, all right? And that will be your assignment for the day. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email me and we can meet if you do have any questions with anything. All right? Enjoy the rest of your day, 5th grade, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.